Welcome to Legendsfile. This channel is dedicated to uncovering the greatest stories ever lived, stories that shaped civilizations, built nations, and transformed humanity. Before modern cities, before science and technology, before written history, there were ancient stories. Stories of people who looked at nature and tried to understand it. Stories of communities that turned rivers into civilizations. Stories of brilliance, belief, power, and collapse. Ancient stories are not just about the past. They explain why the world is the way it is today. In this video, we will travel thousands of years into the past to explore how the first civilizations were born, how they rose to greatness, and why even the most powerful societies eventually fell. This is not mythology. This is not fiction. This is human history, written in stone, buried in soil, and remembered through time. Welcome to the ancient world. Ancient stories are the earliest records of human civilization. They are not legends created for entertainment. They are evidence of how humans learned to live together. When humans stopped living as hunters and gatherers, they began forming communities. These communities needed rules, leadership, belief systems, and organization. That moment marked the beginning of civilization. Ancient stories tell us how humans discovered agriculture, how trade replaced survival hunting, how laws replaced chaos, how belief systems replaced fear. Civilization began when humans learned cooperation, but civilization did not appear randomly. It emerged where resources, geography, and human intelligence met. Rivers were the key. Water allowed farming. Farming created surplus food. Surplus food allowed specialization. Builders, priests, traders, scholars, and rulers. This is how villages became cities, and cities became civilizations. Ancient stories are preserved in stone inscriptions, clay tablets, ruins of cities, burial sites, tools, and artifacts. Every ancient civilization tells the same truth. Human progress depends on balance. When balance is lost, civilizations fall. That is why ancient stories are still relevant today. They warn us. They teach us. They remind us that no society is immortal. Humans created civilizations for survival, but they maintained them for meaning. Early humans feared nature. Floods, droughts, earthquakes, disease. They needed explanations. Religion gave meaning. Leadership gave order. Laws gave stability. Civilization was humanity's answer to chaos. But with civilization came power, and with power came inequality. Ancient stories show us both sides. Great achievements, great mistakes. Every civilization believed it would last forever. None of them did. Mesopotamia is often called the cradle of civilization, and for good reason. This land, located between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, witnessed the birth of organized human society. Around 3000 BCE, humans in this region stopped wandering and began settling permanently. The rivers flooded regularly, depositing fertile soil. This allowed large-scale agriculture, something humanity had never seen before. With stable food supplies came population growth. With population growth came the need for structure. Mesopotamians built the world's first cities, including Uruk, Ur, and Babylon. These were not simple villages. They had streets, markets, temples, and administrative centers. For the first time in history, humans lived under city-based governance. To manage trade, property, and taxation, Mesopotamians invented writing. This writing system, known as cuneiform, was pressed into clay tablets using reed styluses. Writing transformed human civilization. Knowledge could now be stored, shared, and passed to future generations. Mesopotamia also introduced the concept of law. The most famous example is the Code of Hammurabi, created around 1754 BCE. It consisted of nearly 300 laws carved into stone. These laws covered property rights, marriage, trade, crime and punishment. For the first time, justice was written, not spoken. Mesopotamian religions shaped daily life. They believed in many gods, each controlling aspects of nature. Floods, droughts, and disease were seen as divine messages. Priests held great power. Temples were economic and spiritual centers. Despite its brilliance, Mesopotamia was fragile. Frequent wars, invasions, and internal conflict weakened its cities. Environmental damage from over-farming reduced agricultural output. Eventually, this great civilization collapsed, but its ideas survived. Modern laws, writing systems, mathematics, and urban planning all trace their roots back to Mesopotamia. Mesopotamians were pioneers of science and mathematics. They developed a base 60 number system, which is why an hour has 60 minutes, a minute has 60 seconds. They studied astronomy to predict seasons and floods. Their calendars guided agriculture and religious festivals. They believed the stars were messages from the gods, but their observations were surprisingly accurate. Time itself became measurable. This was humanity's first attempt to control nature through knowledge. Thanks for watching Legendsfile. Like the video, comment, share, and subscribe the channel for more videos.